let's talk about the ease of doing business in the nation. The Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, of course, releasing its sub-national ease of doing business report for 2025. So this is for the sub-nationals, the states. Right. Now, very important when you think about reforms and, the fact that we've got millions of SMEs that are the backbone, was it 39 million or more, the backbone of the Nigerian economy because they provide jobs and they pay taxes. So here's the top 10. And this score apparently is a score out of 73. And then you take this as divided by 73 and you get, so for instance, Lagos, number 1, scoring 62.7 as a percentage of 73. It gets you 85.6. Kaduna, I almost said Canada. Kaduna, 47.5, that percentage is 65. So anyway, here's your top 10. So Lagos, Kaduna, Oyo, the FCT, Ogun, Enugu, Plateau State, Ekiti, Kano, and Nasarawa. So a healthy mix there of almost every region. Yeah. So if you look at the regions and how they scored, the Southwest, now this is some percentage aggregation based on PEBEC's metrics. So Southwest coming out ahead there in first place, the North Central in second, the Southeast in third, South, Northwest, and Northeast. They've got a bunch of indicators, and there are a lot of them. I'm going to ask our guest, the Director General of PEBEC, about them. I can't really go through everything, but access to electricity is one of them. Getting credit is another. Market access, interstate trade, paying taxes, investor aftercare, and the likes, land registration, and so on and so forth. What else we got? Who is the intended audience? Well, you, of course, at home are the intended audience, but federal and state policymakers, the private sector, development partners, and academia and civil society. So let's have a chat with the Director General of the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, that of course being Princess Zahrah Mustapha Audu. You're welcome, Director General. Thank you so much for joining us from our Abuja studios. I should also point that out. So I guess I just want to start with a general question, Director General. Is it getting easier to do business in Nigeria?
Hello and good morning, Rotus. I would say yes, it is getting easier. It's a work in progress. It's nowhere near perfect, but we are beginning to hold ourselves to be more accountable. And on that note, I would just also mention that we released 2 reports. The BFA report, which is the Business Facilitation Act, which basically ranks our federal MDAs on their efficiency, transparency, and performance as a whole, as well as the subnational report, which you have just mentioned. But yes, I would say overall we are becoming more accountable. We're trying to embed principles that would help improve the entire business climate or ecosystem in Nigeria.
Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, and I think that, let me just quickly read that out. You had the Nigeria Content Development and Monitoring Board as number 1, Nigeria Drug Law Enforcement Agency as number 2.
Correct.
Customs Service number 3, NCC, the Communications Commission number 4, and then the Nigerian Ports Authority. So yeah, that's of the BFA report. So thank you. Yes, you did. You see, there was a lot to go through. So we decided to focus on the states
Yes.
and the ease of doing business. But you guys, again, you're doing great work, releasing a lot of reports, and it's important for the nation to digest these. So my next question is the indicators looking at the states. I mean, you had 16 of them, and I think there was some overlap here in 1 or 2. Is it the more indicators, the better, or would it be more efficient or I guess easier to rank if you had less indicators?
Okay, so for us, right, because we try as much as possible to cover all the different unique factors of doing business in Nigeria, hence the multiple indicators. Sometimes you might think they overlap, but every specific indicator is to help us highlight or further understand, the peculiarities of the Nigerian business sector. We worked very closely with several consultants who I'm not going to add, that would be advertorial if we speak here on that. But to be honest with you, we had a lot of help and assistance from the World Bank as well as the EU, guiding and helping us also navigate. But then, of course, we took into consideration the local factors within Nigeria and making sure that the report is indicative of our own, unique factors. So every single indicator is put in there to show us or help explain, the current situation within the business climate in Nigeria.
Great. Now, okay, so let's talk about intended audience, because this is the a global business report. So we, of course, would hope that our intended audience is, of course, the business community. Yours, you've got 4 of them. Well, no, it's more than 4 actually, but state and 4 categories. You got the federal and state policymakers. You got the private sector, development partners. You mentioned working with the World Bank, and then this, academia and civil society. How do you want each of these to act on this report?
So for us with this report, for me, obviously, because this is my first year at PEBEC, this is rounding up the first year, it's a baseline. And I wouldn't say, we have tried as much as possible to make sure that we would, to some extent believe that the report is error-free, but overall, what we are using it for is a baseline. We have to have metrics, we have to understand where we're at, and we have to be able to build based on that. So it's more of understanding the existing business environment in Nigeria, highlighting the areas that, maybe potentially we're doing well in, and then areas that we could be doing better, as well as giving recommendations for next steps. So if you go through the report, you'd find that it's quite detailed. Like you said, it's 100 odd pages over for the subnational, and I think for the BFA report it's about 30, 40 pages. But overall, what it does, it understands at the federal level, this is what we're doing, this is what we need to do better. At the subnational level, these are the areas of concerns, and these are the ways. With PEBEC, our reports go beyond just being report, because you need to understand that we also offer technical assistance at the subnational level, and we also work with our MDAs at the federal level just to ensure that this is more than a report, it's more than just rankings, it's about how do we move from the current, how do we keep moving the needle, how do we keep improving the current situation. So it's okay, this is where we're at and this is what we need to do next. So if we take this 2025 as a baseline, we're hoping to start actively from the beginning of 2026, implementing some of the recommendations, and hopefully by the time we're redoing the report for 2026, we should have moved the needle and there would be tangible benefits to the businesses. So for us, yes, it's a great document for us to use locally for businesses, but then it's also a great document to showcase, even to the foreign direct investors who are interested in coming into Nigeria. Yes, we have highlighted the top 10 states for doing business. This is not saying that there's not opportunities. We've even taken it one step further by, besides highlighting top 10 states, we've also shown you the states where they are at, whether they're in the middle tier or the lower tier. We've also gone further to explain some of the areas of concerns. We've also gone further to even highlight potentials in each state. So it's a very robust document. Every document could always be better, and there's always room for improvement, but I think it's a great baseline for us at this point in time.
Now, thank you so much for the breakdown there. I want to get to the regions. We had, of course, the Southwest ranked at the top, the Northeast ranked at I think 5th place or 6th. Now, how much? Because we've everyone knows what's been going on in the country with all the talk about insecurity and Nigeria's relations with the United States and so on. How much did insecurity factor into the rankings or the recognition of how insecurity can impact doing business in a particular area of the country?
If you go through the indicators, you would see that security isn't clearly one of them. We purposely try to stay away from that because we look at the security challenges as a temporary situation, which hopefully we believe that the federal government is doing everything in its power, as well as the subnational government, to quickly bring this security issues to an end. But it's also important to note that states that have internal security issues will obviously have different priorities from states that are more stable security-wise. So of course there will be impact. You would find that state governors who are grappling with loads of security challenges would probably have less time to focus on business policies that would enhance the entire business climate in their state. And this is sort of reflective in the report, even though it wasn't directly one of the key metrics that was used to assess the states. But you can definitely, I would say that would be one of the key things. Another thing to note is the fact that majority of the states that have excelled is simply because they have started to digitalize and automate their systems, and basically streamline processes, making it a lot easier to do business in those states. And that's what we've seen, say, for instance, where you're at now in Lagos. One of the key reasons why Lagos, ranked top is just simply the digitalization and automation of majority of their services, everything from land registration now, which you can even do end to end without needing a physical signature from the executive governor, the tax system that has been automated and digitalized, and the levies that have been sort of reduced and streamlined so that it's easier to go online and pay your state levies, etc. Through a one-stop shop, which they have, their grievance redress mechanism, which seems to be one of the better ones when you talk about state grievance redress mechanisms. So these are the things that they've put in place. Also, not to forget the fact that they're probably one of the only states who have a functional commercial court at the moment, which is very important when you talk about business, because people who invest need to know that if if they have issues, there's a robust legal system. They also have a fantastic ADR system. So these are some of the factors that have led to that ranking. What we're trying to do is showcase to other states what they need to do to also improve the business climate within their states. This is why, again, we continue to emphasize the top 10. We have gone as far as showing you the states within the middle ranking, as well as the lower tier states. But our job is not to discredit any states, which is why we will not publish any particular list and say bottom 10 or whatever. That wouldn't be the job. Another thing to note is you need to understand the tipping point when you deal with subnational government, because at the subnational level, the governors have a level of autonomy, right? And there needs to be a balance between us pushing as well as being able to still have a healthy line of communication. I mean, when I say us, I'm talking about the PEBEC Secretariat or the PEBEC Council and the subnational government. If we get into a situation whereby it becomes a name and shame game, then it becomes in some cases, it could degenerate into a situation where it's very difficult to even communicate. And that's not the end goal. For me, the end goal is how do I actively improve the entire business climate in Nigeria as a whole. And to do that, I need to be able to work with the subnational government. So it has to be more of a hand-holding, which is why we continue to do our nationwide tours. We continue to do our TA service or systems TA service with the subnational government. We continue to engage them using our robust. Now we launched our portal, which allows them to continue to have technical service round the clock, 24/7. So these are, for us, the end goal has to be, improving the business climate in every single state in Nigeria, not shutting out any states because they're feeling somewhat maligned by our ranking.
All right, thank you for that. You preempted my next question, because that was something that came up on our last interview with you about only showcasing the better performance. Okay, right. I guess only just one question left for you. I guess what are you looking forward to for 2026? What's going to be on the radar for you in the new year with respect to your work with the subnationals?
So 2026, I mean, to be honest with you, our work at PEBEC never really stops. For starters, with the subnational, we are trying to guide them towards closing out on their SABRE program with the World Bank. So December is very critical for us because all the submissions need to be in, which means at the PEBEC Secretariat, we're working through December into January. But hitting the ground running in January, we're also going to be working very, very closely at the federal level with our MDAs to try and make sure that some of the issues that were highlighted are addressed. In fact, to be honest with you, straight after this interview, I'm meeting with a few different heads of agencies at the federal level just to discuss some of the discrepancies within the report and how they can obviously improve. I mean, I'm going to touch on this, because some heads of agencies had reached out to me and said, I don't understand why we're at the bottom of your ranking table. This is at the federal level. And for us, one of the key things is we've automated the entire service end to end in terms of reporting. So all we do is on a monthly basis, there are compliance reports that need to be submitted. If they're submitted, automatically the portal generates the reports. We also have the mystery shopping that we do. Again, in real time, we're giving these reports, and what I'm trying to do is remove the human interference so that people or agencies or whether it's a subnational government are assured that we are not manipulating anything based on any preferences. We release our entire, in addition to this report that we have released to the public, we also send scorecards to each state as well as each MD at the federal level with the exact, not just the indicators, but the exact responses or reasons behind why they scored a certain score for each indicator so that they can challenge that or they can fix that, etc. We're also there to work hand in hand with them to improve it. So it's not just about releasing reports or ranking or naming and shaming. It's more about fixing the system. At the just concluded gala and award night, the Vice President said something, and this is something we stand on. PEBEC at PEBEC, we're trying to work with, Nigerians, as well as, whether it's heads of MDAs, whether it's the subnational government, organized private sector, etc. The end goal is to fix the system, to have a fully functional, efficient, and transparent system. And it takes a lot because we're introducing things that maybe ordinarily people were not used to, especially when it comes to our mystery shopping. The relaunch of the Report Gov platform, which basically allows citizens or businesses to come on and whether it's complain or even give us positive feedback as regards to the experiences with our federal ministries, departments, and agencies. We've seen a lot of traction has picked up from that because we've done it in such a way where it's very transparent. All the MDAs are at the back of the portal. We're on there. The Vice President's office is on there. Mr. President has potential login if he decided to log in. But there's a level of transparency.
Great,
right.
great,
so
great.
I guess my time is up.
Look, we got to have you back. But so just so everybody knows, it's two reports: subnationals, ease of doing business, and of course, business facilitation report. Yeah, for the ministries, departments, and agencies. Princess Zahrah.
And I think
yes, go
thing
ahead.
to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. If you just let me, one more thing to say is, especially for the MDAs that are sort of at the bottom of the rank, it's not necessarily as a result of the heads of MDAs not doing the right thing. Sometimes in some situations, it's a matter of compliance, not doing things or not knowing they should have done things at a certain point in time. And secondly, sometimes it has to do with what they met and where they are now. So it could be that, head of an MDA is doing exceptionally well, but then obviously they came into a system that was,
Clear,
maybe just, but for me, I want to, yes, I just wanted to reiterate that because I've had a lot of calls from heads of MDAs complaining about, yes, so it's not necessarily a reflection of a poor performance. Sometimes it's more of a reflection of where we are at.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
And for me, honestly, I'm very comfortable standing on it because I went through all the data sets myself and, we made sure that everything was, like I said to you, automated, digitalized, transparent, it's not manipulated by anyone's opinion or view. Yes.
All
so
right.
on that note, thank you for having me.
You're great to have you, the Director General of the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time.